Hello YouTube. I'm getting some stuff knocked out today. Just got the belt for my oil pump installed. It's one of three that I ordered. The other one turned out to be a HTD style belt, which is not fit for my application. I'm running a Gilmer drive setup because that's what my pump come with when I bought it, and they're a little more inexpensive than the HTD style, and for what I'm doing it's just fine. I'm also gonna drill the other two holes in the bracket for the oil tank in the back, install the rib nuts in the frame and get that squared away. And then if whatever else I have time for today, I'm gonna knock it out. I've got a couple projects that are halfway finished, but I'm gonna get to it here in just a few minutes. Anyway, there's that belt. Kind of a long stretch for that, but it does the job. I would have preferred a 1 inch, but the 3/4 inch belt will do just fine in this situation. Shouldn't have any trouble with it coming off with those two spacers or shims or washers, whatever you want to call it. They do have a groove or angle cut on the back side of them and the front side of this one. That way if the belt does come over here, it doesn't try to walk over it on the bottom side. It kind of pushes it back in. Now that I've got that set up, I've got to get those holes drilled and get the rest of the plumbing taken care of. Once I get my filter placed and my tank in place, I'll be able to finish up my AN hoses, which I'm going to need 3-12 lines plumbed in, and then once that happens, I'll be ready for a first start. Alright, I'm back for another little update on this project. Got the other two holes drilled, rib nuts installed in the frame rail, bolts in, parts in. Fixing to bring my tank out here in just a minute and set it down on there, see how it looks, make sure I'm happy with it. And then I might end up setting a jack under this end of it to bend it up a little bit with it already bolted in. But that's where everything's going to mount up to. I would like a little bit more clearance with the sway bar, but I think I can live with that for right now. We'll see how it acts later on once I get to driving it some. Still waiting on my -12 hose to come in and get that connected to the bottom of the tank, and I'm later on, not today, I'm gonna get a hole saw bit and I'm gonna drill a hole somewhere in the bed and pass the larger of those two hoses, the -16, up through the bottom of the bed into the up to the top of the tank. Anyway, I'm fixing to take this thing off the ramps and get it set back down once I figure out if I'm gonna like this or not. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I'm not going to complain too much right now. It's leaning because it's sitting a little bit far forward. Somehow or another I got the positioning of my bracket a little bit skewed, but I can work with this. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Once I tilt it a little bit, put a little pressure on the bottom, it leans far. The spacing around it's pretty even. You can't tell because of the way the sun's reflecting off of it, creating that glare around the hole. But I'm looking at it and I like what I see from here. Anyway, I've got my next project somewhat started. After I get this thing off the ramps, I'm going to get in here. I've got my steering column. I've got these pieces made for my seats. I'm going to drill some holes, get these temporarily installed with Clecos. I'm going to let them chill there. I'm going to set the seats down in, and probably going to end up taking and cutting a slot from somewhere in here up to here, and the same thing on the other side. That way I've got plenty of space to move my column up and down. The lower bracket for that is right here. I've got it put in this 3/16 steel plate because that's what closely match the spacer that sandwiches between these two pieces of aluminum. Don't have it tightened down right now, and this is able to pretty much free spin in here right now. And I'll be able to move that up and down to adjust the angle of the column. I also have the top bracket installed right here, and it's got a little pivot. It's loose. I'll have to tighten that up once I get it in place. Probably gonna make a little plate just to go right here, and I'll figure out whether this is gonna mount on top or bottom of this. So I could go up through here, I could go down below it, and I might even do something in between. I'll make a spacer or something if I have to do all that. Anyway, I've got my column mounted in here, just kind of half-assed with that. So I've got my column mocked up, and with the factory mounts, it sits way too high, and it's offset to the my right. So I want to move it to the left probably 2 inches, maybe a little bit further. I want the center bolt of it to be about right here. I want it to drop to where that center bolt's probably right here, and it needs to, the other end of it needs to come up a little bit. All right, and I'm using this as a reference right now, because if I sit back in my seat, I'm pretty much in line with that. So I don't remember what passed through the firewall right there where that rubber grommet is, but I'm gonna get a hole saw and drill that out to about 3 inches, I think, what my bottom bracket is, the outer diameter of it completely. I'll have to measure that in a little while, that way I can get a hole saw that's the right size. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. But sitting right here, I want to, leg room's not going to be the best in the world, but I didn't build it to be super comfortable. I am waiting to get a adapter for a, I can't remember if it was a 5 or a 6 bolt Grant steering wheel, but the adapter that I've got coming in, it accepts 5 or 6 bolt pattern steering wheels, so I'm not too worried about the bolt pattern on the steering wheel, as long as it lines up and I don't have to return it and get a different one. My seat is pretty much where it's going to be. I might move it around just a little bit, but that right there suits me. It is skewed just a little bit. I can't get it to sit in there completely square right now, because there's a hump on the other side of it that's keeps pushing me this way. Lord, oh Lord, coming along. I just checked my shipping status of my -12 AN tubing, and or my steel braided hose, excuse me, and it should be here sometime tomorrow. Once I get my chores and little household items knocked out, if I still have time, I am going to plumb up my oil filter and make a bracket for it. I will make a little video footage of that. Also, the oil tank's sitting in there. I've got to get a couple of 1/2 inch and 1/8 MPT pipe thread plugs to close up those holes. I think it's 4 total, 3 1/2 inch and 1/8 inch. I am going to use those plugs, or not plugs, but those bungs for return lines for the turbos, and I am going to run a oil or liquid to liquid cooler. So on this radiator over here, it's got a trans cooler or trans heater, whichever you will, already piped in on it. And I'm going to run one line. I'm going to tee off of this fitting right here. And once I do that, I'm going to run it around and back up to the bottom, and then I'm gonna run a line from there all the way back to the other side of my oil tank. That way I can help it heat up, because like I think this tank's rated for 4 gallons, and that's a lot of oil to be heating up in just the motor. I can use that to keep my coolant temps down a little bit. Anyway, I think this about wraps up my video. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's all I've got for you today. Until the next video, I'm out.